Hello, we're going to look at a demo of the diameter load tester product. We have Wireshark running here on the right just for monitoring on the diameter protocol. And on the left here, we have the web-based diameter load tester tool. You select a config and environment file, let that load up. Takes a few seconds just to instance all the protocol stacks and interfaces and so on. And then what this gives you then is a load generator and some traffic terminators. So it's got a loopback mode to simulate a NASREC server, an OCS, and a PCRF. And you can set the volume, how many concurrent sessions do you want. This is configurable and based on the license that you have, the total concurrent load limit. You can change the load profile by changing, how long do you want each session to stay up for in average. And at each change of those sliders, you get an updated busy hour call attempts, where a call corresponds to a session start and a session end, that time that overall takes. So it gives you that calculation in real time. You can also adjust the gap time, which is the time between a termination and then a reinitialization of the same instance. And stagger then gives the time gap between each of the instances. So how spread out do you want the different instances to be across, in this case, 100 or 10,000 or whichever you're set to. Okay, so let's start off with, we do a single attempt there, and we're going to do a 10-second gap time total. The scenario that's selected is listed here. You can edit that. You can select different ones depending on what you want to do. We're ready. Let's hit start. And we should see first CER CEA event within the Wireshark, and then also the CCR CCA response, and then it does a termination after 10 seconds. You see the termination request. It can also do updates on any configurable time, like how many and how often do you want to do updates within that session. You can then ramp up the load by clicking on a higher amount, and you see the load starts to go up there as it's filling up more instances of concurrent calls, concurrent sessions. When you're done, you can hit stop, or you can set a number of iterations if you want it to go up to, say, 1,000 iterations, or run it for 2 days, 1 hour. You can set those things. Otherwise, it will just run until you press stop. There's a journal which gives you a summary of test results historically run. You can also look at the live report, which just gives you a live view on that. So it tells you what time it started, what version of software it's running, other configuration parameters, and then it shows you the how many calls were successful, okay, not okay, and so on in that summary. There's also a EXR, which is comparable to a CDR, that shows you for each individual session that was created, whether that was successful or not. You can see the result code. You can filter on result code. In this case, 1,000. If there was an error, you would have different error codes. In this case, there's none apart from success. You can also filter on time range. You can see some of the details on what the protocol was, what transport protocol SCTP, what layer 3 IP address was used for that session, and so on. Yeah, so you can also edit the IP addresses by clicking here. This will show you. This also supports GX and NASREC as well, so you can pick what traffic you want to generate. This has the IP addresses here, and there's other parameters in the main config file. For each one of these things, we have a different default file for each node. So in this one, you've got the PCEF acting as the load generator itself. And here's where you set things like the origin host, destination host, supported vendor IDs and other parameters. You can save these as different file names, as you wish. It's all REST API controllable, so you can get reports from REST API. You can run the system via REST API. We also have a Python framework that lets you automate that nicely as well, and many other tools within the platform. But this is the quick overview of our diameter loader. Thank you.